All right, so let's start with introductions. So my name is Carrie Merkley. I'm one of the librarians here at Mount Royal Library. The areas that I work with primarily are nursing, midwifery, religious studies, and philosophy. And my pronouns are she, her. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague to introduce herself.
Hello, my name is Sade Dunn. I'm a public service assistant here in the library, so you'll find me down on the service desk in the first floor. And I'm also our archives and special collections assistant, so you'll also find me in the archives on the fourth floor. And my pronouns are also she, her.
All right, so just to give you a sense of what we hope to cover in the workshop today, we're going to spend the first 10 minutes showing you how to find out what kinds of resources we have in the library. So if you have a particular book or resource that you are looking for, how do you know if the library has it in its collection? I'm going to turn it over to Sade to talk about a few additional services and supports available from the library that we think first-year students in particular might benefit from. And we're going to try and leave at least 10 time at the end to allow for questions from you. But I do want to encourage you, if you have questions throughout today's presentation, if you're not comfortable unmuting yourself and asking them verbally, please feel free to add them to the chat. So when I'm presenting, Sade will be monitoring the chat and answering questions there and vice versa. So we'll try and get to your questions as soon as possible. But let's get started in terms of finding out what types of resources we have in our collection. All right. The main place that we're going to highlight today is the library website. And Sade's going to pop the link to the library website into the chat while I'm talking here today. But this is the place you're going to start most of your searching because it's set up to let you know what kinds of resources we have in our collection. So for today's example search, I'm going to use an actual assigned book. So some of the students who are taking English 0130 this term have the book Indian Horse by Richard Wagamese, an Indigenous author, on their reading list. So I'm just going to show you how I would check to see if the library has a copy of this book I can borrow. So on the library homepage, if I scroll down about the middle of the page, you'll see a giant search box. And what I'm going to put here is the title of the book. And then I'm also going to put the author's last name. Just hit enter to get the search rolling. Try and make my screen a bit bigger. So a few things I'm just going to point out on this first page of results. So that single search brought back almost 200 resources, but not all of these are the actual book itself. So this particular tool, we call it Library Search, searches across all kinds of resources our library has in its collection. So that will include books, both print and ebooks. It will include films, journal articles, which are those academic papers that you'll likely be required to use for scholarly papers, magazine articles, and more. So a single search is going to bring you all kinds of resources. If you don't see the particular item you're looking for right off the bat, we can use these limits here on the right-hand side of the screen to focus on a particular type of resource. In this case, the second result on my list is the book I'm after, but if I needed to, I could go to resource type and choose books as my limit to focus even more. So it looks like we do have Indian Horse in our collection, and there's some information here that I'm just going to point out that's important to you in terms of getting your hands on it. So in this particular case, I see available at reserves, and I also see a second note that says available online. So this means that we have this particular book in two formats. We have it in print, and we also have the entire book available online. So that's something you can access from home from your computer. If you are trying to access this ebook, it will prompt you for a username and password, and that's just your MyMRU username and password. It's the same login that you use to get into MyMRU in your course websites. In terms of the location here, it says reserves, and that's a particular part of our collection. You'll find it at the library service desk on the first floor, and you will ask a staff member there to grab the book for you. We pull books that are on class reading lists aside and place them in the reserves collection because we know there might be many, many students trying to access that one book. So because of that, we make the loan period for reserve titles quite short to allow as many students as possible to be able to access the book. Typically, our books in our collection can be borrowed for an entire term. So if it says main collection, you can take it out for the entire term. But when you see reserve, know that it's probably going to be a very short loan period, and the staff member at the library desk will let you know exactly when it's due back. This tool can also be used to find sources on a particular topic. So you don't have a title in mind, but say you have to do an essay in a course and you've decided to do an essay on the psychology of being a Taylor Swift fan. Could happen. So if I'm interested in finding out if we have scholarly resources that I could potentially cite to back up an argument I might be making in my essay, I'm going to put in some keywords relating to that topic. So I'm going to go Taylor Swift fans just to get started. This time I got a huge amount of results, but not all of these would be what we would consider a peer review research article. And some courses, that will be a particular type of source your professor may ask you to include on your reference list. Because it goes through an expert review process, they tend to give them quite a bit of weight in academic papers. So if I wanted to focus on that type of source, on the right-hand side, I'm going to choose peer-reviewed. This limit is imperfect, but it will help. And then I'm going to choose resource type, articles. I'm going to apply the filter. And you can see it changed my list of results. And you can see from the titles, they're quite specific sources, taking a more scholarly or academic approach to the particular topic. So this library search tool is useful in all kinds of circumstances to see what kinds of resources the library has available for you in either print or electronic. So either type of source can be used. You can use the same search tool to find either kind of source. Any particular questions about that searching? I know we're going through it fairly quickly because this is a quick sort of flyby introduction to our sources. I'm going to point out a few other things before I turn it over to Said. So back on the library homepage, in addition to the search box that I just demonstrated, there's a few things that I wanted to highlight. So under the Help With section of our website, you'll see a link to subject guides and specialists. And on that page, you'll see a list of all of the subjects covered here at Mount Royal and a particular website that has been tailored for that subject area. So if you are an HPED student, I know someone in our group is, we have a guide that was put together by the librarian who's assigned to support students and faculty in that area. And you can see that it gives you all kinds of information, specific tools that you might use to find research in health and physical education. It also gives you tip sheets for particular assignments related to courses. And you might also see videos and other kinds of helpful information that the librarian has provided to get you started with your research. So no matter what you're studying here at Mount Royal, you'll find a related guide here. The other thing that I wanted to make sure that you know about, back on the library homepage, right here in the middle, two of our most popular links are schedule an appointment. So if you wanted to meet with a librarian like myself to talk about how to find sources on a particular topic, maybe help you narrow your search, all of those kinds of skills related to research, you can book a one-on-one appointment with your librarian here. And then also back on the library homepage, the other resource that I send people to a lot is the citation guides. So your professor will specify what citation style you'll use to give credit to the source of your ideas in your essays. So it might be APA, MLA, or Chicago. And for each of those, you'll find that we have a specific handout to support your work. Also gives you a guide to how you might format your paper, margins, fonts, things like that. So these are really important guides to keep an eye out for. And once again, that's library homepage right in the middle. It's the citation resources link. So I see that Sade has responded to the question that came in. Anything else, Sade, I should respond to before I turn it over to you?
No, I think you covered everything pretty good there, Carrie.
Okay, so I'm going to let you take it away and I'll watch the chat.
Sounds good. So I mostly just wanted to talk to you guys and cover the things that you can expect to get at the service desk in terms of both physical things and the services that we provide. So as Carrie mentioned, we have the reserve collection at the service desk. Any of those books that see reserve, you just need to come up to us and ask for it either by the title, the name of your course, or even the professor's name, and we can help you look it up and then sign the books out for you. We also do regular book circulation. Anything that you take down from one of the third or fourth floors, you can both check things out and return things to us there at the service desk. And then we also have, lending out some more unusual things, we have a lot of equipment at the service desk that is always very popular. So we have things like phone chargers, computer chargers, which have like a quick loan if you just need to pick it up to recharge your devices. Those are first come, first serve. And then as Carrie has up on the page here, we also have a number of bookable equipment items that you can book yourself on this webpage, or you can come to us at the service desk and we're happy to make the bookings for you. And then you'd also come to the service desk to pick up your equipment loans and to return them. So we have, like I said, a number of things. We have cameras, we have video cameras, we have meeting owls, which will help you like connect virtually with a meeting for a large group of people. We have presentation equipment like whiteboards or projectors and screens. We have laptops, which are one of our most popular equipment loans. You can borrow a laptop from us for up to 3 weeks at a time. And then we have a number of things. I strongly suggest browsing that page. We also have a lot of audio production equipment to go with our audio production rooms. So also at the desk, we will also help you with some of the specialty spaces that we have here in the library. I mentioned the audio production rooms that we have on the second floor. Those are a bookable room. It's great for podcasting, editing videos, editing like audio production as well, of course. We also have our group rooms. So on the first, second, and third floor, we have bookable spaces that you can reserve for individual or group study. You can book it yourself on the website too, or you can come to us for help. Some of our other specialty spaces, as I mentioned, I work in the archives. That's up on the fourth floor. So we have a wide collection of things that both support classes that are happening at Mount Royal, like your history classes, English classes. We have medieval manuscripts. We have photographs, primary sources for your research papers. We also have the Maker Studio on the first floor, which is another very popular space. It's got a variety of really cool equipment. We've got sewing machines, embroidery machines, 3D printers, laser cutter, wood cutter, just robotics, all of those things there. They can help you get started. It's all free to use for students, although I will mention that they do prioritize work that's being done for classes and courses, although personal work is not off the table. It just might have to wait for a slightly less busy period, but it's free once again. And they also offer workshops throughout the year that will teach you how to use the different equipment and tools that they have there in the Maker Studio. And you can find upcoming workshops and other events in the library on the library homepage. A little bit closer to the bottom, you can see we have the first couple upcoming events coming up. A lot of them focused on getting started for the new year. But if you click on more events, that will bring up the whole year's calendar, so you can look ahead to find something that will work for your schedule a little bit later on. Like I said, the Maker Studio does have a number of workshops in there, but you'll also find workshops authored by other areas of the library, other librarians, and just neat things that are going to be happening in the library that you can drop into and see what's going on. And I'm just going to double check my notes, make sure I covered everything. I think that was most of the things that I was going to talk about. Carrie, can you think of anything I missed?
No, I think you covered everything. Before we turn it over to you for questions, just a reminder of all of the different ways you can get help after today. So if you remember nothing else from our presentation today, I want you to remember that we are happy to help. If you have any questions relating to research or citation, some of the ways you can get help from the library, you can stop by the service desk on the first floor of the Riddell Library and Learning Center. We also offer a live chat service when that desk is open. So if you go to the library homepage, in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see this little speech bubble appear. If you click on that, it actually opens up a chat, and that will allow you to pose a question to our library staff members. So some questions we often get over chat might be things like, what time do you close this evening? I'm having difficulty citing this source. Is there an example I can use? Or maybe you've been searching for, say, 15 minutes to find a scholarly source for a paper and you're getting nowhere. Maybe we can offer some suggestions of search words that we could use instead that might give you better results. So that's the chat service. Just going back one more time, I talked about booking an appointment. So those are usually one-on-one. They can happen in person or over Google Meet like we are now. And all of the librarians offer that option, as well as some of the other members of the library team. And we also offer questions by text. So the same folks who answer that live library chat can also answer questions by text if you send them to the number on the screen.
Oh, and I just wanted to pop this one other link in the chat. That is a link to Student Learning Services. They're partners with us here in the library. They also offer workshops that are more geared to like citation, writing for like an academic paper, and that sort of help kind of more just getting started on academic writing, which is always very useful.
And they offer one-on-one appointments and workshops. So take a look at their website, mru.ca/SLS. They have a number of other programs that might be of interest to you, including a peer learning support program. So make sure you explore their website and take advantage of their services. They are co-located with us here in the Riddell Library and Learning Center on the second floor.
Thank you for watching our recording of our recent Library 101 workshop. Sometimes people find the most value in the question period of workshops. So I just wanted to record a very quick follow-up with some of the questions that came up during our workshop series. So one of the things we were asked several times is printing available in the library and how much does it cost? So printing is available in the library on the first floor of the Riddell Library and Learning Center. One thing to note is that first floor is available 24 hours a day. To get into the building after hours, all you need is your one card and you tap it on the pad provided at either entrance. The cost of printing is 15 cents per page for black and white printing and 50 cents per page for color printing. One student asked us if instructors require you to print off assignments, and the answer is it depends. The instructor may allow you to submit your assignment electronically, but on occasion you may be required to print, so we wanted you to be aware of this option. Secondly, we had a number of questions about what did I mean by peer-reviewed when I talked about searching for that kind of source. You might find the following resources particularly helpful if this is a new term for you. It reviews to research that has been reviewed by other experts in the field before it's published. If you go to our library homepage and click on Site Search and type peer-reviewed into the search box, you'll find a number of helpful FAQs that will walk you through what does peer-reviewed mean. So when we use it in this context, we're not talking about your work being read by a fellow student. It is a very formal process to help ensure the quality of research. And then we also have a tip sheet that talks about how you find peer-reviewed articles using library search with step-by-step instructions of how to do that. Several times during the workshop, we also refer to the one card. That's your student card, and it also serves as your library. You'll find more information about how to get your card on the One Card website. Simply searching for MRU One Card will pull that website up. Another popular question we received during the workshop is, do we have copies of your textbooks? So when we talked about reserves, that's what we're referring to. That's where we would, if we happen to have a copy of your textbook, place it so that it has a shorter loan period and more students are able to access it. If you're wondering whether or not we have your textbook, you can look it up using the library search as demonstrated, or you can search by course code or your instructor's last name. If you go to Course Reserves and type in, say, Gen Ed 1401, you can then limit by either your course instructor's last name, or you can choose a particular Gen Ed course as well. Once again, thanks for watching our recording. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Good luck with your semester.